It is the subject of Shakespearean tragedy.
It's Greek. That's Greek tragedy.
Greek tragedy. All of the tragedies for a reason, right? A podcast about matricide and patricide and mass killing of Jews and apparent assassination of young college Republicans on Ivy League campuses. A podcast about fun. My name is Bob, sitting across the way from my good friend and co-host. That's Abe. How you doing tonight, Abe?
Doing well, Bob.
Yeah. Here we are. Maybe we'll also do some college football coaches who threaten to kill themselves with a butter knife.
Crossover episode.
And make their 23 or something year old secretaries watch while they bleed out very slowly from having scraped their wrists with a butter knife. Lori is
probably
here.
Starved to death.
Too.
First.
How are you doing tonight, Lori?
I am having a wonderful Christmas time. What if it was pronounced matricide?
Lori's having
That'd
a
be
wonderful
stupid, right?
Christmas time and is
matricide.
Still frowning upon the way people pronounce MAGA.
MAGA.
Steve Kornacki on Meet the Press on Sunday said MAGA a couple times.
And the woman corrected him.
She didn't correct. Kristen Welker doesn't correct anybody.
Kristen Welker. No, she said what he said again correctly, and then he said it again. MAGA.
By the way,
tonight
Bob,
is excuse me, doing important things here. Tonight is got to ground ourselves in reality, Abe.
Yes.
Monday, December 15th, 2025. Remind me to pay my Amazon bill before I go to bed tonight, because if it's the day I have to pay. If I forget as a fee, it's the day of the. I forgot to do it today. So Lori, keep that in mind.
You're going to wait until the last minute to do it?
It takes like 8 seconds.
Do it right now.
No, I don't want to do it right now.
No, do it now.
I'd rather have it hanging over my head as I record for the next 2 hours. Fun weekend in the news, as you can tell.
I don't know about that.
Fun.
Every other news alert this weekend was some mayhem or death or destruction. I, however, had a pretty good weekend other than Phillip Rivers losing. I realized I was playing pickup basketball with nephews and neighbors and such. I was hanging out with the family over the weekend. I am not.
You realized you were doing that? Like
yes.
you came to suddenly playing pickup basketball?
I don't know if you noticed, Bob. I just kind of, it's like a lazy river, this life, So sometimes I'm not paying attention. And I'm like, oh, shit, I am in the middle of this basketball game, and I am out of shape. I can't play these kids. We ended up winning, but I had to go home and just relax and do nothing for a while.
Oh yeah,
I'm sore now.
You do like an ice bath or something? How did
no.
you?
No. I don't. No, just do nothing. Let the body figure it out.
The Substack algo has been feeding me cold water content lately for some reason.
Is this from the people that wasn't it? Remember that the Tucker Carlson interview where the guy was showing his sphincter to the sun for some sort of vitamin D? Something, right?
Abe doesn't remember a conversation we had yesterday, but a Tucker Carlson spot on sunning the assholes. That sticks.
That does stick out. We got to admit that.
If it sticks out, you should probably get it looked at.
That's right. But is it the same, people that had come up with that idea, this cold plunge thing? Because I thought that it's not good for your heart. You're supposed to
No, it's good.
Apparently it's good as, I don't know. I'm sure that next week.
Because all you and Katie talk about is cold showers.
Next week I'll be getting some alternate algo will be telling me that the cold plunges are actually going to kill you or what have you.
I think that's where I'm at now.
but this week the cold plunges are apparently good for you. My daughter's complaining about being cold after the shower, and she's walking around with dripping wet hair. I'm like, well, go dry your hair and put on socks, you moron. She's walking around in her little leggings and
Both
no
of
socks.
our children are very stupid.
No socks on her feet and soaking wet hair. It's like, go dry the hair and put on a pair of slippers or something. But anyway, I was like, look, what you got to do at the end of the shower, just turn it to cold. Take the hot water all but entirely away and let the cold water come down on you. I used to do this years ago, not because of the cold water, the positive cold water effects on one's immune system or heart or what have you. But I'd read something maybe Lori told me about, like, what you want to do is you want to close the skin back up. If you open your pores up too much there as you're getting out of the shower, like the cold water, tighten things back up.
Yeah, but not, I would never tell you to finish your shower cold. That sounds like torture.
No. And also, it felt nice. Like, I liked the refreshing aspect of hot shower and then, right at the end, shock the body with the cold water.
How long is this shock? Like 20 seconds, 30 seconds?
Yeah, like 20 or 30 seconds. You bear the initial torture of it. Right. And then endure for a little bit longer. And then as soon as you cut that water off, because usually you step out of the shower, maybe you open up the bathroom door and the steam goes rushing out and the ambient air comes in and it feels very cold. Right. But if instead you get out and there's cold water on you and your skin is very, very cold, now the ambient air feels relatively soothing. And so this is what I told my daughter. Like, look, get it super cold at the very end and then cut it off. And your body's going to go into like fucking preservation mode here. And it's going to start heating shit up. And it's going to be good for you.
Interesting strategy.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. I got nothing further on that. I don't know where to start either. I want to do a combination of the Australia shooting and the Brown shooting. And
sure you don't want to talk about gingerbread houses?
Yeah, I guess we should do that too. The Rob Reiner tragedy. But yeah, let's first talk about our gingerbread house that we made.
Yeah,
if you're a close listener of the show, a careful listener of the show, not just this one, but Cast Iron Balls, you'll know that we participated in a Dick's House of Sport marketing scheme.
Not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor of this show, but a sponsor of our local Little League. Where my guess is the way that this works is that like Dick's, like the average Dick's store is required to give away some amount of money every year to the local community, in part for the tax write-off benefit, and also because it's just good marketing-wise, right? So they can say, oh, we donated $25,000 this year to local bullshit. Right. And they get the tax write-off and all that, so it's all good for them. But they get to the end of the year and they're like, wow, fuck, we still got like $6,000 that we have to unload before the end of this calendar year. So let's do something. And you don't just want to hand that money over to the community. You want to get something in return. And so they run this gingerbread house contest where they're like, hey, local assholes with large email lists, why don't you provide us with an opportunity to get a bunch of extra foot traffic here a week before Christmas into our store? And like suckers, we oblige them. We do a bunch of bullshit marketing work for the Dick's Corporation. And Lori and I made what can only be described as a masterpiece, a gingerbread model of our local Little League field.
It couldn't be better.
That could only have been better if we had had way more time and planning.
I think it just would have been more pleasant with more time and planning.
Yeah, it wasn't terribly pleasant.
Did you guys feel rushed
the end result
through the whole
could be
process? Did you guys feel rushed to get it done?
Oh, yeah. So I spent most of, because it was, we had to turn it in at the store Saturday by 11 a.m. Now, I say by 11 a.m., but they weren't ready for us when we walked in there at 10:45.
Also, the email we got said, hey, bring your gingerbread house either Friday night or Saturday by noon. Also, could bring it Saturday before 11. That'd be good. Like, in the same paragraph, it gave us two different times.
Yeah. So I thought that we were in pretty good shape in terms of getting the thing done.
We were.
And we were. I mean, we got it done ultimately. But there's always, in a project like this, there's always more that you can do. There's always something else that you can do.
Well, and you find out, because we've never done this before, we're learning as we do it. So if we wanted to make the exact same thing again, it wouldn't take us nearly as much time.
Right. It would take half the time.
Because we wouldn't have to make the mistakes and audible and
so much
improvise.
of it is just experimenting, right? Like, can I make this popcorn look like grass in the outfield? And can I then dye this grass a slightly different color to make it look like letters were cut into the grass, the way that you see like at a major league stadium? Sometimes you see like they've cut different shapes into the outfield grass. And I had an idea like, hey, to get our logo or our initials there on this whole project, we could make it look like we had cut MLL, Monticello Little League, into the grass of the outfield and achieve that effect by having some blended popped popcorn be
kettle corn,
dark green, and some of
the
it.
kettle corn was already green.
Right.
We picked out the green ones. He bought green and red combination for Christmas, and we went through and took away the red ones. We have them upstairs.
Just to give you some idea of like what the process is, you get a big fucking fuck you bucket size of popcorn from the grocery store, and it's half red and half green popcorn, and then you decide, I just want the green stuff. And so you spend 45 minutes just separating the green popcorn from the red popcorn because you're a slave to the Dick's marketing assholes.
That instead of using it for decoration on the gingerbread house, you want to grind it up. Or first, you think you want to just use it whole as the grass. And then you realize, no, that looks stupid. We can crush it. Okay, we can't crush it. We can put it in a blender. But we need to make it more green because when you put it in the blender, it lightens it. So it just kind of looks white. Okay, so you put oh, that doesn't work.
Food coloring
okay, you mix the food coloring with simple syrup. That's how you get it there.
Yeah. Anyway, the point is, it takes me hours to create the outfield grass that if we were going to be doing this again, it would only take me 20 minutes or whatever, right? Anyway, I spend basically the whole day Friday working on it while Lori's at work. Lori gets home from work, and we then proceed to spend the rest of the night working on this gingerbread house.
This was after already baking.
We did all of the prep work ahead of time, right? There was no baking to be done. It was just decoration and assembly. And I'll put pictures in the show note. Go to brainiron.substack.com, and you can look at an assortment of pictures of this thing. But long story short, we get to the end of the night. And keep in mind, this is on a piece of plywood that is 3 feet by 3 feet. So it's a square piece of plywood, 3 by 3, which, if you are familiar with the standard front door size of the average American home, it is less than 36 inches across.
It was Thursday night that I realized, because we started doing some of the stuff.
Right. We put some stuff on we started the process Thursday night, and Lori realized, like, oh, we can't put the gingerbread house, this large structure, or any of the larger elements of this on this board, because we're going to have to tilt it to get it out of the front door. Like, there's no way that this 3 by 3 piece of plywood is going through the front door.
We don't have like a bigger sliding door.
Right, we don't have sliding doors or French doors anywhere to the outside in our house. And so we're going to have to tilt it. And though construction grade gingerbread and construction grade royal icing is very strong, makes a very strong hold.
We don't know how strong.
You don't know how strong. You don't want to risk
all that work
all
just
of
to
what
tumble
you've done
off.
To tilt it to the side. And so at about midnight, we go to my daughter's room and we
we said we need a third person.
Yeah, we're going to need some help here
because both of us need to be holding this thing with both hands. And it even fitting through a standard doorway is impossible. Fitting through our hallway is an ask.
Right, very tight fit.
It is inches away from not being able to leave the dining room. And then the question was, which kid do we ask?
Who do we trust more to be awoken in the middle of the night and be able to competently follow instructions? It's like, well,
Katie.
I think it's got to be Katie. So we get Katie out of bed because, yeah, like Lori's saying, we can't take our hands off this thing to open the door or hold the other door open as we pass through. So Katie does the thing, and it's like 16 or 18 degrees outside Fahrenheit.
It was so cold.
It's very cold. The initial plan was to set up a folding table outside and assemble the thing
do it on the porch.
On the front porch.
Yeah.
Easy, right? Plenty of light. But it was fucking 18 degrees.
It was so cold.
Yeah.
Way too cold. Even bundled up, like after 5 minutes, you lose finger dexterity and the ability to think straight when it's that fucking cold. And
that's your brain is like, go inside. Whatever you're doing is not important. It doesn't matter. Go inside.
Right. So instead, we warm up the car and pop the trunk and assemble
the big car. The car it fits in.
The SUV that we have now, and assemble this thing in the trunk of the car with the back seats laid down.
Some of the photos you can tell it's nighttime in a car.
And we're out there. The best part, I don't know about the best part. There are many best parts. We're assembling the large structure. And, of course, a gingerbread house is only going to be decorated on the outside, right? You wouldn't bother decorating the inside of the gingerbread house too much. Like, you might put a couple of small features in there in case somebody wants to look in the window and see what's going on. But the bulk of the decoration is on the outside. Lori assembles the left side of the gingerbread house and the front and the rear, and then goes to put on the fourth wall, the right side of it. And I'm like, I think this has been decorated backwards. Where the inside, because I went to put it. And it's like,
the
wait
problem
a second.
started with the construction of it.
Yeah.
Which it's my fault. It felt wrong the whole time. The whole time it felt wrong, but I trusted. I trusted myself.
Because the roof is slanted.
And I should not.
Because the roof is slanted, you cannot just simply put the left side and the right side interchangeably, right? Because they're actually, it's going to end up being a mirror.
They're mirrors
of each other rather than.
And that's what
copies.
I thought. And what I baked was not that, because I baked it wrong. Like, I did it wrong from the get-go.
So at about 12:20, I go running back into the house, scrape the decorations off of. Lori is in the trunk of the car. Just holding 3 walls of a gingerbread house in place while I go running inside.
1 in the morning.
At nearly 1 in the morning to redecorate 1/4 of the walls of our gingerbread house as quickly as possible, and then run back outside with that so that we can finish assembly. We have to put the foul poles up. If you look at the design there, you can see that the foul poles are candy canes seated inside Coca-Cola bottles, because what we realized was there's a 0% chance that we can make this candy cane thing stand up by itself just using royal icing.
We could have eventually if we had put scaffolding.
Right. If we had scaffolded it in place and then allow it to dry overnight, it would have been fine.
And there was already too much stuff on there.
Right.
So
it was 1 in the morning.
The Coca-Cola
and we
bottle.
couldn't think anymore.
Right. It's 1 in the morning. I look around my basement because, famously, Lori likes to complain about all the
I don't complain about souvenirs. Those are great.
All the bullshit I've got in my house.
Finally.
That's right. Vindication. I'm running around my basement at 1 in the morning like, what can we use for this fucking foul pole? Or how can we stabilize this thing and have it make any sense and be aesthetically pleasing at all? And I look, and atop my compact disc collection is a Coca-Cola bottle turned on its side, like a little 8.5 ounce or whatever they were, like the glass bottles, like the very
novelty
glass Coke bottle. I'm like, wait a second, Coca-Cola, America, baseball, Little League. Are you kidding me? And this thing has just been sitting in my basement for a decade waiting for this moment. And so I grabbed that bottle and I'm looking around my basement like, surely I've got another fucking empty Coca-Cola bottle somewhere around here.
We each got one.
I did not, but I ran upstairs, and on top of a bookshelf in our house was a 2021 Atlanta Braves World Series champions Coca-Cola collector bottle, which still had Coke in it. I'm like, sacrifices must be made.
Right.
And so I popped it.
I drank the Coke.
That's right. It's 1 in the morning. No.
Chugged a warm Coke. We're fine.
I poured the Coke out into the sink. Still fizzy, by the way, some 5 years since it was bottled. Good carbonation in there inside the glass bottles. And then rinsed it out and ran it outside, and now we have foul poles. Bottom line is,
People loved them.
We don't get back into the house until 1:20, 1:30 in the morning.
Something like that.
Because we weren't in bed until almost 2. But anyway, assembly 90% complete at that point. We didn't put the roof on the thing or the dugout roofs on until
No, we did.
first. We did. We did put
We
the
did the
dugout
dugout. It
roofs
was
on.
just the roof. We had to fix the fence. We had to put the roof on. We had to fortify the Coke bottles and like tidy it up. And that was it. We had things to do in the morning. Put the roof on. Fix the fence because Bob dropped a piece of wood on the very delicate fence
Yeah, the
about 5 seconds after I yelled, "Don't do that. I don't want to break the fence."
fence is made out of this lace cookie stuff.
Very delicate.
One of the best aspects of the entire build is the outfield fence, which looks great.
We did great.
It was great. The bleachers
looks
are
great.
the fans in the bleachers are like Sour Patch Kids and gummy bears, and also vanilla wafer cookies. There's
The only thing Bob overbought, and yet he didn't because they're one of my favorite
they're like
things.
Lori's favorite cookie, so she's just gonna eat them
I'm gonna eat so many.
through Christmas. What was all our scoreboard is awesome. The best part about it, from my perspective, because I'm an asshole, is that this whole thing, it tells a story. Okay, so like we've got two teams, a red team and a blue team. Blue team is the home team. They've got runners on first and third. It's 2 outs, bottom of the 6th. They're trailing 6-4, and the batter has clearly just swung because his bat is now in the dirt, and he's standing there and he's gazing off into right field, where above the Christmas tree, which is where we have an enormous, beautiful, ancient sycamore tree at our Little League field in right center field. And so my idea was we need to recreate the sycamore, but it should be a Christmas tree because this is a fucking Christmas time gingerbread house or whatever.
And I said, yeah, duh. That's what I was
Lori
thinking.
was like, I was miles ahead of you. I had already had that thought, dumbass. I was like, all right, well, I woke
I
up.
need to say it out loud.
I
but
woke up
okay.
at midnight on Tuesday night and was awake for 3 hours. And so I was just thinking about it. And I had discovered in the middle of the night on Tuesday night that it should be a Christmas tree instead of a sycamore. And those are easier to make. And Lori's like, yeah, dummy, why were you up all night? Anyway, a home run has just been yacked out to right center field. And it's soaring over or perhaps stuck upon the Christmas tree out there. And so what has happened, but the home team has just won the game in the bottom of the 6th.
Nice. What is
All of which can be figured out just by looking at the field there.
What is the ball made out of?
It's a cake pop covered in...
Hostess cupcake, cake pop.
Yeah. Lori had me buy Hostess cupcakes at the grocery store.
I didn't want to make cupcakes, just to make one cake pop for a gingerbread house that I will never see again.
Yeah.
God willing.
And, yeah, so the Christmas tree is great. The narrative is great. It's just it came out so much better than I expected it to. And it's like we watched like the British baking show where you watch any of these goofy cooking reality shows and they make them do these big fuck off like display pieces. And you're like, how does anybody do that? Yeah. Like what sort of an average asshole is able to come up with this stuff? And like having now done this and done it as well as we did the first time, yeah. It's like, oh, all right. You work on this sort of thing. You probably fucking figure it out. And we didn't even like cheat. Like there's no like the structural integrity. Like this is all legit gingerbread stuff.
There's a tiny bit of glue.
Right. There's a little bit.
We
of glue.
didn't need it. Bob just insisted on it.
Also, are you making an accusation about the other participants? Is anyone else cheating?
They totally use super glue.
No.
Oh, really? Is that like a...
It doesn't matter.
Is it explicitly forbidden, or is it just one of those things?
No, there were no rules. There were no rules at all. It could have been made of plywood.
I'm up there at Dick's, and just as an average, everyday asshole, just walking around. Nobody knows that I'm the creator of this thing. And I'm listening. I'm overhearing some chatter about my wonderful creation. And this grandma type goes, I guess somebody besides the kids worked on this one. She said extremely judgy, as though somehow this was about children making these creations, as though the rules were this is to be created by children. There's not even an indication that this should be made by children.
The rules were drop it off by 12 or 11.
All right.
Yeah.
Those were the rules.
Were there any submissions that had all the hallmarks of kids alone doing it, or?
Oh yeah, like 3 or 4 of them.
No.
That one baseball field that they just drew on cardboard. Anyway, we won't know whether or not we won this contest until tomorrow, but we won this fucking contest.
Oh, yeah.
And
Here's what's working in our favor. Of the 8 applicants, 4 of them were from one high school.
Oh, wow.
like
But
the swim team, the baseball team, the bowling team, or whatever the fuck. Like there
Field
were
hockey,
field hockey.
swimming. It's just like they are diluting votes.
Right. It's
Yeah.
like when Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman and Shohei Ohtani are all on the same team. You don't know what to do with your vote because they're all awesome.
Anyway, that's what's been going on with us, and it was great.
Anyway, it was a nightmare. Like I was alternately.
That was very mean to me.
That wasn't. Come on.
Okay.
I mean, come on. Like 18 hours I spent on Friday doing this fucking thing, and it's 2 a.m. I'm freezing my nuts off outside trying to finish assembly here. It's like, what are we doing? And especially in that moment, there's still a significant risk of this thing collapsing at some point. Like we don't know whether or not we're going to be able to still pull this off. And like ultimately,
It had to drive down to the. It had to drive, which Bob was of little faith about this thing. Like, I was pretty confident in the integrity of the royal icing of the gingerbread in general.
No, it wasn't that I was of little faith. It is that, as I said to the children, when they said, "Oh, you're done," it's like, no. You can be 99% done with something, and it's effectively 0% done until the thing is turned in. Right? It's like it's like saying, "Oh, I wrote my term paper, and it's done, and it's sitting on my hard drive. I haven't printed it out yet, and I haven't." Right? Like, no.
Yeah, but the
you did
hard part.
No, the hardest part is actually delivering the fucking final product.
Were you
I
driving like a
think that
90-year-old?
the writing is the hard part.
Were you
What?
driving very slowly to not like?
Oh yeah.
So if someone's driving really slowly in front of you,
Yeah.
give them some grace.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's possible.
Consider
that
the possibility.
They are trying to transport a gingerbread house to win money for a little league.
Next time you're about to fly off the handle in a road rage incident, consider the possibility. If you could just walk a mile in their shoes, Everlast style.
If some crazy aggressive driver came around and looked at you and you told them gingerbread house, would that? Okay, never mind. I was just going to go
the
off on you.
the neighbor walking by in the morning looking at us and Bob going, "Yeah, we're putting a gingerbread together in the car." And I looked at her and said, "Do you not?" And she said, "Oh, no, we did ours yesterday." Like, she wins.
Oh, looks good.
Anyway, like I was saying, though I was full of hate and rage on Friday night, ultimately rather gratifying to be done with it and to have done it well, certainly. Yeah, we made probably. You know what? Actually, I won't say this is the most frustrating thing, but here's something ironic, or perhaps this person didn't mean it as a dig, but it felt like a dig. But Friday night, I get a text from the treasurer lady, who earlier in the day I had texted, "You're going to pay for this," like because this we wouldn't be doing this, but for her alerting Lori about it. And so, like, though I'm also happy to blame Julia in Ukraine for her insistence that we do this thing.
She was the most emphatic.
Yeah. The fact that it never would have come to our attention had the treasurer lady not forwarded us this email about the gingerbread house.
Because no one else had.
So she will be paid back for this. But then she texted me on Friday night in celebration saying, "Hey, I just secured a $1,500 donation from somebody for our Little League." And I said, "Oh, yeah? Did you have to build him 2 enormous gingerbread Little League models in order to secure it? Or did you just, like, get a check?" I'll fucking kill you, treasurer lady. Bragging about getting $1,500 without having to make any goddamn gingerbread houses.
This was the time we did this. This is not ever happening again.
This is what Lori says. But given that now we know where in the calendar the annual Dick's House of Sport Gingerbread House contest falls.
Yeah.
We can't top it. Asa, the guy who also bakes and is an architect.
You know
can
who
do
I
the
haven't heard
next
from
one.
about whether or not our gingerbread house was any good? Mm-hmm. That guy.
Yeah.
The architect.
He's mad.
Who
He's
makes
mad
cookies
they didn't
and
ask
stuff.
him.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure he's furious. I want to send him like a passive-aggressive text. So, we won the fucking gingerbread house contest. How you like me now, Asa? Anyway, that was what we did on our Friday night and Saturday day.
All right, back to the murders.
All right, let's open up the WGAS NewsBag. It's time for Who Gives a Shit news. Feels a bit inappropriate to be calling this segment Who Gives a Shit news, given the unpleasantness and severity of what's going on in the world. I guess we should go in order, which I guess starts with the Brown University thing, right?
Which is still ongoing, right? They once again apprehended somebody who turned out not to be involved.
Yeah. I want to play... We try to make light of things because we're assholes around here, but did you happen to watch Meet the Press this weekend?
No, I did not watch that.
See if I can find the whole interview here. Rand Paul apparently had visited Brown not all of that long ago. And, like, to be clear, I am not, Rand Paul, whatever, he has bothered me, and also I've been impressed by him at various points through the years. Generally, I find him obnoxious. But, and this is not to say, like, he's some sort of a moral monster. This is more just to point out that, like, you go on television, it's a very silly thing to have to go on television and to have to say things in the wake of great human tragedy. It's difficult to always say the right thing. Right. And I think it's safe to say that Rand Paul didn't say the exact right thing here with Kristen Welker. I'm
trying to imagine what he could have said.
Oh, it's great.
It's great. I don't know that anybody else would notice it exactly.
I'm surprised. I mean, I don't know how I would see anybody being upset about it, but oof.
Joining me now is Republican Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky. Senator Paul, welcome back to Meet the Press.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. I wish the news were better. We are having this conversation against the backdrop of yet another American tragedy, yet another mass shooting. What was your reaction to learning about the mass shooting at Brown University, and what do you want people to know about that today?
You know, I was just at Brown a few weeks ago. I gave a speech at the political union, got to meet, several hundred of their students, had a great interaction with them. So kind of feels more personal because I hope it wasn't, nobody deserves to die, but I hope it wasn't any of the students that I met or that I know. But, just a tragedy. And I think, our prayers go out to the families of those who were injured and those who were killed.
I hope it wasn't anybody that I met. I hope it was...
They were all right.
I hope whoever's dead is somebody I didn't meet last week. What are you saying?
He's just trying to get to the end of that sentence.
In retrospect, it is almost certainly someone that he met because one of the women who was killed was the head of the college Republicans there.
Right, yeah.
And given Rand Paul is a Senate Republican, one imagines that the head of the college Republicans showed up at a Rand Paul event at Brown and probably shook his hand at the very least. So.
Right. It is, yeah, that was a weird thing to say. But I guess he's just trying to make it, try to draw a connection because he's not the senator from that state. So it's like he's trying to...
Yeah.
Right. What is this?
It's coming from a good place. Yeah. And trust me, I know what it's like. But just don't say anything.
Yeah, just keep
say
it short.
Yep, this is a tragedy.
Yeah,
Please ask me the question now before I say something really stupid.
Well, and not to put words in his mouth that he definitely didn't say, but Rand Paul is also the sort of weirdo who would be like, I mean, we're talking about two, right?
Yes.
You
think he would? Actually, the mass part of the mass shooting.
Right. Just in terms of, he does seem like that sort of a person. Be like, let's not get carried away here with just two, but obviously an unpleasant thing, and unpleasant is not
obviously unpleasant. Where's the lie?
It seems like this was. This is baseless. Maybe not quite baseless, but irresponsible speculation on my part. But it does seem like it's possible that this girl was targeted in some way.
Well, I mean, is that just simply based on the fact that she was politically affiliated? Like, there's no evidence that there was some event that was politically, aligned.
It's the lack of this. This is also not fair, and why this is irresponsible speculation. The news reports say that this person stormed into this study group. It's like for an econ class that everybody who goes to Brown has to take. So it's like this big class. It's they're studying for a final in some study hall or classroom or something. And the story is somebody barges in and then shouts something. And there were a bunch of people in this room, in this study room, having this study group session. And the content of the shout has not been disclosed. And so I have this... Like, to me, that suggests that is revelatory of some sort of targeted motivation. And maybe that's just me guessing here.
Are you suggesting that they're withholding that whatever that was what was said, or just people couldn't make out what it was, and it was like every student that could hear something?
I think that it's probably being withheld. I mean, if there's 25 or 30 witnesses to it in the place where this happened, I don't know. Maybe it is.
Yeah,
maybe it was just...
I mean, like everything that I'm reading here so far... They're saying they're suggesting that this was a targeted attack, right? So
right.
And I think the other victim was like from Uzbekistan or something. Like, so I'm trying to figure out like what the connection is here. I guess when the dust settles, we'll know more. But if it was targeted, I wonder what the target was.
That's the thing. All of the news coverage is suggesting it was a targeted attack of some sort, and they won't tell us the thing that the individual shouted upon breaking into the room and opening fire. So, like, to me, there's a couple of weird things going on there that suggest that this was not just random. I don't know if there's anything else to say about that. Everybody wants to have the conversation about guns in America as it relates to this, and I don't know what it accomplishes.
Right.
Do we think that Connecticut doesn't have sufficient gun laws in place? Does Australia not have sufficient gun laws in place?
Well, the Australia one being slightly different because that didn't happen that often over there, right? I mean, like here, it's just a supply of guns. It doesn't matter what your particular state says. Like you can drive. I mean, I've driven through different states, not with guns, mind you, but it's not hard to go from one state that has lax laws to another state that has strict laws. It's not like they have checkpoints at the border. But yeah, like at this point, it's just what are people using these guns for? Like there's nothing that can be done about getting rid of the supply of guns.
Yeah. And then as this conversation about the Brown stuff is all sort of percolating, we start hearing about something happening in Australia, which was very much worse in every possible way, just in terms of the number of victims and the public spectacle of the thing.
Yeah.
And just to set the floor here, a father-son duo, a 50-year-old man and a 24-year-old man, armed with a handful of different weapons, mostly using what appeared to be sort of long gun hunting rifle. And from listening to the event, listening to the audio of the video, sort of single shot, right, one after another. Like this is not your typical American mass shooting where somebody's got the assault style rifle that fires off in quick bursts of 3 and then can be modified with bigger magazines and whatnot and auto triggers or whatever. So not like a machine gun style massacre, but instead it's just like shot and then a second and then another shot and then a second. And I think they had a couple of shotguns with them as well. The father apparently had half a dozen gun licenses, so he had gone through the proper procedures there in Australia to acquire these guns. The son apparently was known to authorities as far back as 2019. This is someone, I believe the son was born in Australia. The father, right, I believe they're of Pakistani extraction. And the son was known to authorities because he had apparently declared for ISIS way back in like 2019 or something. And they investigated him and determined that it wasn't anything to take too seriously, at least in terms of further police action. And then, tragically, that turns out to have been wrong here as they do their thing, which was to show up at, is it Bondi? What is the?
Bondi? What is that?
Bondi Beach, a very popular place in Sydney, and it's a Hanukkah celebration. There were thousands of Jews there. As it turns out, I didn't know this, not being overly Jewish myself. Australia is home to like essentially the third largest population of Jews in the world. Like
really?
We've got Israel, and then we've got the United States, and then there's a large contingent of Jews in Australia.
I would have never guessed that.
I wanted to jump in the next morning and clarify there are, of course, larger populations of Jews in some countries in Western Europe, France and the UK, for example, and a large, like 400,000 or so, I believe, in Canada also. But the strong population, over 100,000 in Australia as well, a largely Ashkenazi Jewish population there, mostly descended from Holocaust survivors. Anyway, not the third largest population, but quite significant nonetheless. Sunday night in Australia time, the first night of Hanukkah, there's a big Hanukkah celebration on the beach there, and they show up and decide to fire on the crowd. We end up with, I think, as of right now, 15 dead and dozens more injured, both by bullets and, of course, in the melee that results from firing on a large crowd of people. Easily the best part of it was this video that I saw at the Times of a man named Ahmed El Ahmed. He's a Syrian-born fruit seller, father of two, 43 years old or something like that.
No, the end where he raises his fist is the best part.
Yeah, so that's a...
I got him.
He's not raising his fist. I think he's showing he's unarmed. He doesn't want to be shot by any of the... I know what you're talking about, where he leans the gun back up against the tree and then sort of raises his hand. He appears to me to be showing surrender, not showing, I got him. And then apparently, if the video had lasted any longer, we would have seen him get shot by the other asshole. And since I couldn't find anything that said who shot him, so like when I couldn't find who shot him, I assumed like, oh, the cops fucking ran up and shot this guy after he had been a hero. But apparently that's not the case. I guess he was shot by the guy who was still on the bridge.
I mean, this guy that he wrestled the gun out of seemed kind of to be a little bit on the older side. That must have been the dad, and the other guy is the son. Yeah,
it was the dad who he wrestled the gun from, who had, for some reason, and if there's other angles of this whole thing unfolding, where you see them, they're kind of elevated. They have a position of the high ground. And for some reason, this dad abandons his position of the high ground and comes down to street level and is using this palm tree for, I mean, he doesn't need cover. He's the only asshole with a gun here, seemingly. Right. But this guy sneaks up behind him, gets his hands around his neck and upper body, and wrestles the gun from him. And it's a spectacular moment of pure heroism. And right. I was afraid watching this the first time that it was going to end with him summarily executing the guy who he had just taken the gun from. And I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about that. In the moment, it would have been 100% justified. Right. Because you don't know what else is in that guy's pocket, right? Like right. In that, like it would have been probably the right thing to do. It would just be to put two in him if you can.
But the problem is, you know, like he exposed himself to risk. Obviously, that's why he's being hailed as a hero. It'd be interesting if that hero label would stick if he just shot him. You know, be justified, like to put an end to this, because the idiot kid is still shooting, and I think the old man is the one that's dead, and the kid is the one that's apprehended. But I do wonder what the reaction would have been had he shot him, because you're right, the guy could have easily had a pistol. Like, okay, you grab this one gun from me, but I still have this other gun, right? And so your restraint is going to lead you to die, right? So he probably would have been justified. I don't know what the laws or...
we don't know who shot him. He might have been shot by the father who had another gun on him. Like it has not been confirmed, I don't think, who shot this guy. My assumption is that the son who, from the other angle, when the son is still on the bridge but by himself, you can see he appears to be firing down into the direction of where this intervention happened. Right. So I assume that's when our hero got shot, but again, not clear yet precisely what happened. It's obviously awful. It's that Ahmed El-Ahmed is an unalloyed hero. I mean, you don't know how much worse this would have gotten but for his intervention. And it's clear that this is an act of anti-Semitism, of in my opinion, it's anti-civilizational nonsense from the usual suspects. And the usual suspects in this case being ISIS-sympathizing Muslim extremists.
Right.
And you don't want to paint with too broad a brush.
Right, yeah. Unlike the situation at Brown, this is like very clear what the motivation was. You know, they attacked a Hanukkah event like deliberately to try to kill as many Jewish people who were there. So like there's no doubt as to that. I don't think there's any doubt as to that. I don't know where this started. Like we're like in Australia. Like I don't know if there's been past incidents. Like I because I don't follow Australian politics, but wasn't there something similar to this like a few years ago in Australia? Not like this bad, obviously, but I thought there was some sort of
the Muslim one.
Well, that was the Christchurch one, the other way, right? Like I think that was in New Zealand.
Is that
but
not
I think
Australia?
There was a
New Zealand
Muslim-y related thing in Australia years ago. That was like a couple of people died, and this is like bigger than that. I could be mistaken.
I found on the website for the group, the American Jewish Committee, a list of anti-Semitic attacks that have gone on in Australia basically since October 7th of 2023, including large street protest where a bunch of demonstrators or protesters were marching through the streets of Sydney chanting various anti-Semitic slogans, including "fuck the Jews" and "where are the Jews" or "gas the Jews" or some combination thereof. And then there were a couple of fire bombings of Jewish-owned businesses in Sydney, quite near this Bondi Beach thing, apparently. And then also last year there was the firebombing of a synagogue in Melbourne. Some of this anti-Semitic activity was, the Australians believe, directed by the Iranian government to the point where they chose to cut diplomatic ties and kick the ambassador of Iran out of Australia at some point last year. I'm not sure, like I said, not sure exactly which attack Abe might be referring to here, but there has been, certainly in the last couple of years, an escalation in anti-Semitic activity in Australia. And apparently people are mad at the Australian government for not taking it entirely seriously enough, which I suppose is easy enough to say in the wake of an event like the one that happened this past Sunday. While I'm trying to get the robots to remind me of the thing that you're referring to, which I cannot find at the moment, because, of course, Google sucks at doing anything that is... Like right now, it's just going to return me stuff from this news event, and it's going to be almost useless in finding other stuff, at least on the front page here. But I don't know. For some reason, I had the thought, and I know like it's silly to bring United States politics into this because it's not about U.S. politics, and it's certainly not about Mamdani and New York and all of this other stuff. But like, there's a op-ed in the Times today by, I think it was Bret Stephens, and he said, this is what globalized the Intifada looks like. It looks like people on a beach in Australia mowing down as many Jews as they possibly can. There are something like 15 million Jews on the planet right now. 15 million total Jews, and they are the obsessive fixation of the worst adherents of a religion that boasts some 2 billion people as part of its following. And I'm not suggesting somehow that the 2 billion people are responsible for what happened to the 15 people on the beach in Australia. But there's something so fucking pathetic about the adherents of an ideology or a religion that dominates in terms of how many people follow it. But there's something just like comically pathetic about people who adhere to a religion that has 2 billion people being so fucking insanely fixated on 15 million people who largely just want to be left alone. I know Jews are super annoying sometimes, right? Like
yes, but it's not because they're trying to get new people.
Right.
They're just annoying. Personally,
they are, and anytime you talk, there are all sorts of ways where you can stumble and find yourself falling into anti-Semitic tropes here. But like they outkick their coverage based on the 15 million, right? In terms of achievement and wealth and their place in the world, right? But that makes sense. This is a small and heavily persecuted minority who everywhere on the planet that they've ever gone, they've been told to fuck off, with the exception of the United States of America, basically, right? Like come here and build a life, and it'll be mostly fine. And yeah, sure, there's anti-Semitism on the rise here, and I think that is worth keeping an eye on, especially in the guise of the Tucker Carlsons and the Candace Owens and the Nick Fuenteses of the world, who have a ridiculous amount of influence over dummies. But again, I don't want to paint with too broad a brush here, but for whatever reason, they did never really the math on it, the simple arithmetic on it had never occurred to me. The absurdity of a religion of 2 billion people being so hyper concerned with wiping off the planet a minority of a mere 15 million. And I know that, like I said, the Jews outkick their coverage, especially there in the Middle East with Israel. It's an unpleasant thing there, the intermingling that goes on in the desert.
The issue that I find is that whatever story captures your imagination, like to the point of radicalization, like what the source of that is almost is like secondary in the way that I kind of see it. Like, okay, so you have 2 billion people who practice one faith in different ways, and then you have some people who will pull things from that religious tradition to commit whatever atrocities that they want. Like, what is it about that small group that is behaving in this way that's different from other groups, right? There's something about how they see the world that is inherently flawed, like fatalistic, to where their life here doesn't matter, and so they're just going to be, like, if they're a bullet to the larger cause, like, let me be that bullet and take out as many as I can before I... It is a very warped view of the world. I don't know why this story, which is very it's like almost like a cancer, if you were to make a worldview like cancerous, it is kind of like a cancerous way of looking at the world. Like it's not going to end well. Something bad is going to happen at the end of it. But like, I don't know why some people are susceptible to it and others are not. Like, what is it about this father and son duo, which is a very rare occurrence, right? I mean, like terrorist group that are this father and son. Maybe it's happened before. I just haven't.
Usually a young man's game.
Yeah, usually like the father is usually directing the action. They're not participating.
The Beltway sniper.
There you
not
go.
Quite a father and son, but like
yeah.
a father-son relationship.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's a good comp. But like, I don't know, like, at least early on, I don't know if they changed the story, but like early on, they're saying that the son was recently unemployed. He was doing some blue-collar work, and then he became radicalized over the years, and those two things created this situation where the father wants this action to be done, and the son follows suit. I don't know how true that is. I guess the Tsarnaev brothers was another comp where it was like siblings, but there isn't that age
siblings
disparity.
Is much more...
Yeah.
The siblings... Brothers. Not
Yeah.
siblings.
Yeah.
Brothers. Male siblings.
Yes. Yeah. But like, I don't know what can be done about that, because like these people were in Australia. Like, you could be anywhere and this sort of thing. Somebody can go online, get radicalized. The local authorities can only do so much. In 2019, what if this guy was just saying things but he wasn't doing anything, right? You would have to let the case go, right? You couldn't say, well, I predict in 6 years this guy's going to commit a mass atrocities, so let's get ahead of that and do A, B, and C. And unfortunately, it's kind of like a reactive kind of thing. It's kind of hard to do like predictive policing. And so you kind of have to react to things as they happen, which causes people's lives. I mean, I understand that that's, it's unfortunate, but like the alternative would be what, to like guess that somebody's going to commit a crime
No,
in the future?
there's no-
Philip K. Dick. We pivot to Philip K. Dick.
Yeah, it's not clear that there's anything that can be done about it in a rational way. You cannot confront irrationality with rationality. It doesn't work. I think that if this was any other, and maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm seeing this wrong. I think that if this was any other minority to whom this happened, this would be an unspeakable tragedy, and taken far more seriously than the world will take what's just happened. And I know that people are going to take it very seriously. I don't mean to downplay or say that the reaction is somehow not what it should be. But this won't matter because Jews have acquired whiteness in the minds of way too many people. They are not the correct victim class any longer. I don't know how it happened. I mean, of course I do. It has everything to do with Israel. It has everything to do with the Western liberals' idea that, or the American liberals' idea, more specifically, that Palestinians are equivalent to American blacks. If we're doing the racial math here, that the Jews are the whites and the Palestinians are the blacks, and Jews are doing. The charge is always genocide, right? The Jews are doing a genocide in Palestine, which is an absurd claim. Just flat out, the numbers do not support.
I think it'd be more accurate
that.
to say like oppressor versus oppressed kind of dynamic. There seems to be somebody has to play one role versus the other. So like if you're labeled as the stronger, like you're the oppressor, so nothing you do is good and anything you do is bad. And then if you're the oppressed, you're willing to set aside any other problems you may have with them. And they play the role of victim. So, I think it's just the way people see the world impacts how they react to things that happen, right? Like it's
Well, and the Jews are the world's historical other, right? In every society in which they've ever lived, with the exception of Israel, right now, where they have, it's a fucking religious state, basically. They have been the world's other for as long as they've existed. A traveling tribe of others who people get fed up with and tell to fuck off every couple of generations. And it's just what the story is. The story is the Jew is the other. And for whatever reason, when they are attacked in this way, it does not read the same way as it would if this was a white supremacist. I mean, flat out, if this was a white supremacist attack on a mosque, it would be the end of the world. And instead, this is just, there's a lot of just under the surface, and in a couple of weeks, it will be, well, what about the chickens coming home to roost, right? There's a little bit of that's going on here.
Right, that will always be there. You know, a few years ago, I may have agreed with you, but now I think people, I don't know if it's people are just jaded or have grown numb to it, but nothing sticks. Like if you were to change the dynamics and it was some other mass casualty event, it would just kind of come and go just like this will. Just like I think just nothing sticks. Like people just don't have either the attention span or the news cycle moves so fast that it's not particularly because it's against Jewish people or whatever. You can plug in anybody, like the Aborigines or whatever. Like you can just do whatever combination of this group or that group. And it would be like, whoa, that's crazy. And then like, oh, Rob Reiner, somebody slit his throat. Like, and then, oh my God, this other thing on Tuesday and on and on. So I think maybe 10 years ago I would agree, but like, I don't think it matters now who is getting killed and who's not getting killed.
I don't even mean I think you're 100% right. Like, I think absolutely the way that we consume the news, the way that we will be overwhelmed by something else in 36 hours absolutely contributes. But I also think that in the immediate aftermath of this, had this been reversed, it would have been had the arrangement of victim and perpetrator been different, it would have been the end of the world. And yes, the end of the world will also be overwhelmed by the tidal wave of news that's coming, or the constant churn of the news cycle, so that in 36 hours it will have been revealed to not have been the end of the world. But all I'm saying is that if this had happened and Rand Paul goes on Meet the Press on Sunday morning, he's not asked about 2 kids who were shot in Brown, right? Like, if like there's no way that if the circumstances had been a different arrangement of perpetrator and victim, that we would have been talking about a Brown college shooting instead of this right away. And maybe all of the details weren't immediately clear, but like Saturday night, I think Trump was talking about this, right? Like it was before bed on Saturday that we knew what was going on in Australia on Sunday. I don't know, maybe
Do you think news stories does like local versus international make a difference? Like, do you think that because Brown happened in America and something else happened in Australia, like the more immediate concern is what happens here, or has that been flattened by the internet environment that we're in now, where if you don't live, in the Northeast or in Australia, then it's nothing is local to you, so it's all the same. Like, do you think it's being processed?
I don't. Maybe it's local. It matters more, but to me, the much more interesting story is the Islamic terror attack on a Hanukkah party on a beach in Australia.
Right.
Like that, we are talking about civilizational warfare here being perpetrated by fucking idiots who are able to outkick their coverage in ways that is so completely unacceptable, right? And it doesn't mean that there's anything to be done about it. It doesn't mean that we should stop all Muslims or whatever, right? But at the same time, the kid who goes and shoots up Brown for whatever reason feels like it's a different sort of thing than we have this group of fundamentalists who want to, first of all, wipe out all of the Jews on the planet, but who are also fundamentally at war with civilization itself.
But it should be noted
to me that's a more interesting story. I don't know.
That's true, but it should be noted that they are clearly losing in that battle, right? I mean, these are like lone wolf. Like, there's not like a lot of effort.
Yeah, but what's interesting about it is that they will continue to be losing at this battle for forever, and they'll never go away, right? Like we will always have nipping at the heels of civilization Islamic fundamentalism that wants to destroy it all. And you can't say that about the Hasids, right?
Well, it's not the same.
You can't say that about the trad wife community in America, or the Amish, or the fucking Mormons, right? Like, and it's unfortunate, but it's true. It doesn't necessarily speak to anything about the 2 billion people who are adherents to the religion of Islam in post 9/11 George Bush. Most apologetic way possible. I actually sincerely believe that. But also, as long as there is civilization, I believe that fundamentalist Islam will be have as its main project the idea of undoing it, and that sucks ass.
Do you think
and undoing it in spectacularly violent ways, because there are psychotic Catholics like who want to go back to pre-Latin, or they want to have the Latin Mass, and they want to go back to the old days, and they want to have 9 kids. And I think they're psychos, but they're notably not going around and killing a bunch of people.
Well, and they're not trying to get other people to be like them, and that's the biggest difference between Islam and non-Catholic Christianity. It's that they're trying to get more people.
Yeah.
And Jews and Catholics are like, no, it sucks. You don't want any part of this. It's just it's the difference.
Right.
It's why you do have, I mean, not as many, but like
To be fair, the jihadists are not the world's greatest proselytizers.
No, but it's the same. The concept is
conversion by the sword is not,
But everyone should be like me is the general concept. It's the same with the neo-Nazi types.
But it's a lot of that
they want everyone to be like them.
It's like bend to my will, and I'm using some sort of religious justification for it. Basically, it's like you have to submit to my way of things, not like, hey, let me show you this better way. Like, it's not better. Like, it's just my way.
But the point is, they don't want different kinds of people. They either want more of them or less of others. Right. And Jews and Catholics, not even considering it. It's just, we do our thing.
One of the first things that I ever did for the Bob and Abe show was to read an essay that I wrote on tolerance, which I'm sure was quite obnoxious. And
Probably as cringy as it gets if you would go find it.
I'm sure it is. But the message maintains. There's this idea that is very prominent on the right now, and it's the reason that you're seeing an explosion of right-wing populism all over the globe. And I think that it is not unfair to say, even if you think that if the underlying claim is unfair, the sincere belief of the right-wing populists and those that support them is that the West, that Western liberalism essentially won't stand up for itself. Right. That it has acceded to the view that it is fundamentally, it's built on a fundamental flaw. The original sin of Western liberalism is colonialism, right, and imperialism. And so the British Empire, the French Empire, the Spanish Empire, all sort of combine to create the American Empire over the long course of time. All of these empires are bad, and as a result, we have displaced many peoples, and we have robbed them of their land and their heritage and their history. And that original sin and the guilt that results from that makes it impossible for modern Western liberal democracies to stand up for themselves in a way that keeps at bay this sort of anti-civilizational thinking that motivates Islamic fundamentalists. And I think that it can be wildly overblown and used, whether it's the Le Pen people in France, whether it's the way that people talk about, like the way that Putin talks about ensuring civilization to march on. And what he's really talking about is a sort of revanchist throwback to a Soviet time where he thinks that Russia should dominate the continent there. Or whether you talk about Make America Great Again. All of it is less than ideal, but it speaks to something that people fundamentally believe, which is, and I think that they're right in some unfortunate way, they're right to believe it, that we do not have the courage of our convictions. We do not have the faith in the project of liberal democracy, of civilization. I'm trying to phrase this in a way that doesn't make me seem like a reactionary asshole.
I don't know that you can.
But it might just be it might necessarily be that a failure to stand up for civilization, the mantle of that will be taken up by reactionary assholes, right? Like it may just be that that's how this works, that you're not going to get the limp-wristed fucking academic types to ever, in a responsible way, talk about how great liberal democracy is and how you must not tolerate those who would stand against it, right? Like we have to have an intolerance for intolerance. We have to reject the idea that every idea is equal to a pluralistic society in which nobody can really tell anybody else that they're not welcome, right? And then the idea that somehow we are incapable of defending that idea anymore, it's weird. Like who are the American politicians who will stand up for that idea who you don't want to throw your fucking shoe at? Like there aren't any.
Right. Because I mean, what would the application of that idea be, right? I mean, the whole, so like in Australia, these two people, they have some grievance against some group of people that they've never met before, right? I'm sure they have opinions about Israel, and they see opportunity to hurt these random people. The only reason why they're being attacked is the shared identity, shared group. They belong to some group, and one is interchangeable with the other, right? So me killing some random person on a beach in Australia is the same as killing
their
somebody.
Belief in the collective guilt of the Jewish people.
Right. So like there is no innocent. Like it could be in Frankfurt, it could be in Australia, it could be on the moon. It doesn't matter. You're culpable for this group that you belong to. Even if you're like, oh shit, I'm secular. I never visited Israel. Like that doesn't matter. You are them. Like
that's the scary part to me. Because like, don't let me in with those.
So the problem that I see is how to apply that general belief, because a lot of the I'm going to focus on America. I don't know about Europe, but America, big fans of religious liberty, right? And freedom of speech, right? So those are the two exploited things. Like if you come to America and you espouse some batshit crazy, backwards 15 centuries past by date beliefs, that is this country, the laws, the traditions, the culture is to respect within, not to say that you approve of it, but like you respect them doing that, right? You just can't act on it. And so like to change your posture would be to kind of undermine those two core values, right? You would have to kind of like, how can you design a rule or a law or a custom or something that adheres to the American beliefs of like religious liberty and freedom of speech, but also knocking this nonsense off, like cut this shit. Like, how do you achieve that? And there isn't a way to do that. The only way would be is the brute force, like all these fucking people, kick them out. Like that's why these right of center parties take hold, because there really isn't a way to. It's kind of like this.
Right. I don't think that you can design a political response to this or a policy response to this that is in keeping with American liberalism. Right? It has to be a rhetorical response. You say, in the same way that you say, I hate what you say, but will defend to my death the right of you to say it, or whatever the stupid cliche is, right? Like, with free speech, you accept that, like, something between 1% and 20% of all speech is going to be fairly fucking awful, right? At best, it will be stupid, and at worst, it will be entirely awful.
Right.
You accept that. And I think that, like, it is the case that to have a Western civilization that is pluralistic and tolerant and everything that I want America to be, you will have always, like I said, sort of nipping at the heels of civilization, some small percentage of people in a like sort of triage sort of way. We're going to lose 0.5% of people in the war for having an ongoing civilization, right? There will be anti-civilizational monsters who insist, who are going to take advantage of the fact that in a free society, they can wage war on civilization largely unfettered, right? Because we're not going to do pre-crime. We're not going to stop Muslims from gathering because some tiny percentage of them end up killing 15 people every once in a while, right? So it cannot be a policy or legal response, largely speaking. It's why the best response to 9/11 would have been rebuild the fucking towers where they stood and pretend like it never fucking happened, right? And like you just go on, and it's completely unacceptable.
That's what Ukraine does.
But like you just have to move on, and which is why what I'm saying, it has to be a robust rhetorical defense of your civilization. And who among us who's not a complete shithead is capable of doing that? Right now, only the worst people in the country are doing the robust civilizational defense. It's not in the wheelhouse of the good guys, to put this in as dumb terms as possible.
Right, and that presents the political problem where if you don't address this or confront this issue, then votes will go towards those people who want to make things even worse, right? And so, like, you have to have a solution for it, or else you won't be empowered to do anything.
Right, because the solution that I'm proposing is the do nothing solution. It's the accept that if we're going to have a free society, this is the result. This is the wages of a free society. And like, fuck, like, so all we can do is try to assimilate people to our way of life as best that we can. And the problem with that is that there are people, largely half of academia or whatever, who thinks assimilation is wrong, right? Who thinks that actually we should just be like if people want to come live here, they should keep their own fucking cultures in America, and that it is wrong to deny them of their language or whatever. Like, no, it's way better, this stupid fucking culture that we have. And you should assimilate to this. Like, I don't know. There's a big disconnect, and as we come up on this next year, the 250th birthday of this stupid fucking country. Like, it's such a great opportunity for that loud and somewhat obnoxious rhetorical defense of American liberalism, and no one is capable of doing it. Only the fucking jackbooted assholes who want to end birthright citizenship and make Trump the emperor forever are the ones who are doing the civilizational defense, and it sucks ass.
All right.
Speaking of assholes, Rob Reiner, we got a news alert. It was a very strange push alert last night.
Yeah.
It said something to the effect of, there are 2 dead bodies at a house owned by Rob Reiner,
Right.
a 78-year-old and a 68-year-old man and woman. Curiously, if you go to the Wikipedia page for Rob
It
Reiner.
said it in the article. The article I read.
Right. So the article says, Rob Reiner also happens to be 78 years old, but we have not identified who the people in the house were who were killed. This was the very early reports about this last night. And so the immediate thought is, well,
Have a guess.
Rob Reiner and his wife are probably dead in their house. Could this be some weird murder-suicide thing? Right? Like, that's my first thought was...
Oh, I thought not.
My
not murder-suicide.
My first thought was like a repeat of I think it was Gene Hackman, right? Like, he was like so, he was like so old, and like somebody died first, and then the other person was too old to do anything about it, and they died second, and the dog starved. Some sort of like, you're too old to be by yourself kind of things.
Yeah, but 78.
Yeah, I did not. Yeah, I was like, oh, he just.
Right, and yeah, his dad, Carl Reiner, lived to be almost 100.
Right.
Like, this is despite his evident lack of good health, not to speak.
Stop. You're just judging.
I'm not judging. He's a big fat man.
This, by the way, proves that it's all about genes. You know, like Trump is pretty chubby. He's pushing 80.
Yeah.
Rob Reiner,
He's luck.
lived a life of comfort, and he pushed almost.
Life of comfort. I didn't see him doing too much pickup basketball either, did you? No. Anyway, strange initial push alerts, and you're like, oh, I guess he's dead, and I hope it wasn't particularly awful. Like, like,
is that a weird like bargaining thing you do with something you have no connection to? You're like, well, at least hopefully it's not. It wasn't painful. At least it wasn't something awkward like a family member. Like, just a quick like, I hope it's not something too awful.
Yeah, but like when you I know the Gene Hackman thing turns out to have been this likely torturous nightmare for an old man completely out of his mind, but at least he didn't like fucking.
He didn't know about it.
Right, he didn't know about it. He didn't strangle his wife or something like the dogs didn't eat them to death or anything like that.
Loyal to the end, yes, good dogs.
And yeah, sure, it's kind of weird to say this, but like you hope that the 2 dead people didn't undo.
Well, first
I don't
of
know.
all,
It's just human. You don't want them to unduly suffer,
First
right?
of all, you hope it wasn't anyone you just met.
Right. If you're Rand
First
Paul.
that.
God forbid.
I hope it's nobody I've met personally. Moving from I hope it wasn't torturous.
That would just be weird for me personally if I had shaken this person's hand just 3 weeks ago.
Which is why, when we find out more, I said, oh my God, poor Conan O'Brien.
Right. So,
I got immediate, like, oh God.
Oh, that's
apparently
right.
they had gone to some sort of a holiday party at Conan O'Brien's house, and there was a large domestic argument so that the other guests noticed that Rob Reiner had gotten into a shouting argument with his son.
The sack of shit son. Conan O'Brien is hosting the Oscars, isn't he? That's going to be awkward.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't kill Rob.
Yeah, I know,
Reiner.
but it just like.
But he's going to feel awkward.
They do the in memoriam thing. I'm sure they'll do a little bit for him.
Yeah. Anyway, I guess we should summarize the end result here, which is that Rob Reiner, his 32-year-old son, Nick, apparently following some sort of argument at Conan O'Brien's holiday party back at the Reiner household there in Brentwood in L.A., stabbed his father and mother to death, and if the details on the internet to this point are to be believed, slit their throats. And yeah, very. I know you're a big stabbing enthusiast.
I was just thinking. Did you say Brentwood? Stabbing?
Yes.
Like there was a neck thing in Brentwood. Wasn't there a story in the 90s similar to this?
Yeah.
Similar. A little different.
A little different.
Yeah. And apparently their daughter, the older sister of the guy who did allegedly is suspected of doing the murder, lives across the street. And when the Reiners failed to answer their door for a masseuse, because this is the sort of life that these Hollywood elites live, they had ordered a masseuse over to massage away the stress of having been publicly embarrassed at Conan O'Brien's holiday party. I'm not laughing. The masseuse couldn't get an answer at the door, and so the daughter was alerted that something might be going on. So she goes over there and comes across this scene and apparently tells the cops that the brother should be considered a dangerous person of interest in this matter.
What a nightmare for that daughter. Holy shit, to see your folks. Mm-hmm. And then in the back of your mind, you're like, this is not a random home invasion. Like, this is my brother. It's likely my brother.
I mean, what do we know about this brother? Is he like schizophrenic and has a history of illness?
A long
bipolar,
mental illness, drug abuse history, apparently.
Of course.
Right. But it's just weird how the news, it just kept on getting worse and worse. Like, every new detail is worse. Yeah. But they went from, like, two people that are aged this and this, could be Rob Reiner, we don't know, to, like, oh, the son did it. Like, they just went to, like, the son did it. Like, it was, like, just, it's like the trial already happened. But they went very hard to, like, it was him.
Yeah. I mean, it was definitely the son.
I mean, right? I mean, like, yeah.
Our president had something to say about this whole thing.
Hold on. There was a funny tweet. Did you see it?
Did he make it about himself?
I saved it. Hold on. No. I don't know who Gunther Eagleman is. Is that a person?
I never heard of him.
A person?
Okay. I don't know who that is. Said, liberals are desperately searching for a prominent conservative mocking Rob Reiner and his wife passing. I've seen nothing but statements like this, Andrews. I've seen nothing but statements like Andrews. They can't cope with this simple fact. And he's, quote, tweeting some other, someone saying nice things. And then Cody Johnson putting Trump's
right. Well,
tweet.
Jack.
Oh, shit. Oh, fuck.
Yeah. Jack Posobiec, who's a guy who got caught up in the Pizzagate conspiracy and is now despite getting Pizzagate entirely wrong, is now a prominent figure on the right. You might say because of getting Pizzagate prominently wrong is a popular, prominent figure on the right. He tweeted out, "You won't see people on the right celebrating the horrific murder of Rob Reiner and his wife. Compare to the left's reaction to Charlie Kirk's murder." And I think Donald Trump then said, "Hold my beer." Yes. And he went on Truth. And I say that I would not have believed this, like I would have read this and assumed that this was a bad parody, right? Like it is so much worse than what I thought he could manage. It reads as follows. This was at 10 in the morning today. A very sad thing happened last night in Hollywood. Rob Reiner, a tortured and struggling but once very talented movie director and comedy star, has passed away, together with his wife, Michelle, reportedly due to the anger he caused others through his massive, unyielding, and incurable affliction with a mind-crippling disease known as Trump derangement syndrome, sometimes referred to as TDS. He was known to have driven people crazy by his raging obsession of President Donald J. Trump, with his obvious paranoia reaching new heights as the Trump administration surpassed all goals and expectations of greatness, and with the golden age of America upon us, perhaps like never before. May Rob and Michelle rest in peace.
You could stitch together like a very bare bones condolence thing. Just take the top and the bottom and just gut to the middle.
Yeah. I mean, is it even worth commenting on?
Nope.
This is in keeping with Trump, though. Like, there's nothing unusual about this. I mean, wasn't it just like during.
I mean, it is extremely unusual to suggest.
This was about
This
me.
is what's weird about it to me is that he's sort of confessing to the crime, right? This is very close to "you're goddamn right, I ordered the code red," right? Because like, I mean, it's not quite going that far because he's not saying that he ordered the assassination of Rob Reiner, but what he is saying is that it was his Trump is claiming that Rob Reiner's anti-Trump stance in the world drove people so crazy that in defense of Trump's honor, that's why Rob Reiner was killed. Right. That's the implication
Something like that.
of this post.
Right. Like, I mean, it in one way it reads like you reap what you sow, but almost, I mean, like, I don't know if he's drawing a connection to him ordering anything, but it just seems like you're against me so much, and maybe that motivated somebody to take action against you.
Yeah, it sounds
right. What he's saying
narcissist.
is, I don't know that this was done by one of my supporters, but if it was, it checks out.
Right.
Yeah.
But
this was about me.
Also, I mean, I could be getting the dates wrong, but shortly after 9/11, Trump was just thinking out loud during an interview about how his building is now the tallest. Like, this is not like something, like, I wasn't particularly surprised by his tweet or retruth or whatever the fuck it is, because everything is about him. Like, and now he knows then the reaction is going to be less about, like, what a tragedy to, like, look how boorish this Trump is, and then we're going to get him to, like, try to apologize or take it down, and he'll do the same thing of, like, just pushing back against it, and then his supporters will defend him reflexively and on and on and on. Like, it's the same kind of playbook. It's literally the same thing he does all the time.
It's narcissism, which just turn the page, and it's Sharon Moore. It's the same. This is the same thing. It's just a narcissist being a narcissist.
It's defended by people by saying, well, Rob Reiner really did have Trump derangement syndrome, and he really did talk about Russia, Russia, Russia all the time. And he did post all of these things on the internet about how much Trump sucks. So why shouldn't Donald Trump be as shitty as he wants to be against this guy? Right. And the answer is that he's the president of the United States of America. And, like, how many times do you have to drive it into somebody's head that maybe the president of the United States of America, that after a man and his wife are brutally murdered in their home, that you shouldn't talk about how much you hated him. Right? Like, you're the actual president. Like, I'm not happy about it, but you're literally the most powerful man in the history of the world. Right? Like, just, I think I've said this before, but, like, every successive American president has essentially become the most powerful man in the history of the world. And at some point, it's a diminishing returns thing, because you can only have the ability to command the attention of the whole globe, and also the ability to potentially end all life on that globe up to the point of maximum 100%, right? Like, there's only, you can only accrue so much power up to that point. But he has that. Yeah. And you would think that at that point, you would not, it would not occur to you to comment upon this even. Yeah. Never mind to do it in the fashion that he did it in. And you're saying that you're not surprised by it. Of course, the worst thing that can happen to a person in some way is the death of their child, right? Like in terms of a personal tragedy, it's hard to imagine that the death of a child is that you can go over the top in terms of that. But to have your child double murder,
oh man,
you and his mother, like that's worse, because they have brutalized themselves, right? They have made themselves irredeemable in the society and in the eyes of God. I know Christianity, we are all redeemable ultimately, right? Because Christ died for our sins or what have you. But like functionally, Nick Reiner is now irredeemable in every possible way. Yeah. And also you're dead. Yeah. Right? Like you have fallen by the hand of the life that you created. Like your failure is unspeakable. It's not your fault necessarily. Yeah. But your failure is complete. Yes. Your child has killed you. There's nothing that I can imagine is worse in terms of the heartbreak possible.
I mean, maybe one shot, your kid killing your other kid.
As you're sitting there dying in a pool of your own blood, to know that your failure is so complete that you died at the hands of your own child. I legitimately cannot imagine. It is the subject of Shakespearean tragedy.
It's Greek. That's Greek tragedy.
Greek tragedy. All of the tragedies for a reason, right? Yeah. Like it is as unspeakable an inversion and perversion of life as you can possibly imagine. Right. And to have the President of the United States rub your corpse in it strikes me as even slightly more beyond the pale than tweeting about all the haters and losers or whatever.
I can't imagine how it could be any worse for Rob Reiner and his wife. Like, to raise your own killer, like, and I'm sure this sack of shit kid, there's going to be something that's going to come out where like the parents were trying to either cut him off because he was a shitbag, or like they're trying to play some court-ordered.
He's just mental illness. It's just crazy.
Right, but like, what was a triggering point? Like, was there some sort of cutoff, some sort of a court-ordered like kind of constraints that they're going to place on him to try to protect himself from himself or something? And then he lashed. Who knows? I'm just speculating here, but all the diaper changes for this kid to end up killing you. Like, again, I don't have any kids. I have no experience with it. I just can't imagine anything worse than that. So like, anything on top of that is immaterial. Like, the tweet would not register with the just catastrophic failure that happened in this family. Like, just like, you have ruined not only your parents' life, you've ruined your own. Your sister's now traumatized. I don't know how you get past this. I mean, your parents, their necks are cut. Like, that's gonna be traumatic. So like, I don't know where you go from here if you're that family.
Andrew Sullivan put something on the internet. Andrew Sullivan posted, Trump's post about Rob Reiner is something I won't post here. It's not a mean tweet. It's a genuine expression of profound mental illness mixed with delusional grandiosity and a callousness and narcissism beyond the capacity of anyone but true sociopaths. Enough of your excuses, dismissals, whataboutisms, and avoidance. He's a deranged monster. He disgraces us all the time. The damage he is doing to the civic and moral core of this country is profound and irrevocable. I think that's obviously true. Like, I think, like, it is the case that the prominence of this person in our lives is bad for us collectively. And the fact that the bulk of his supporters will dismiss any criticism of his behavior as it relates to the Rob Reiner thing speaks to their own depravity themselves, and in a way that's just sad. Not in a way that I want to judge, but in a way that tells me that we have collectively failed to keep people engaged in the project of the society in a way that is useful. Right. The fact that the trumpeting speaks to an underlying truth about the way that they see the world suggests civilizational failure. It suggests that we have failed in profound ways, that like my grandmothers would have voted for this cocksucker 3 times in a row. And I've said before, I'm talking about people who up until 10 years ago, I would have said, though I disagreed with them about like the nature of the universe and shit, I would have said, here are moral heroes, right? Here are people whose underlying moral motivations I wouldn't question for a moment, up until the point where they decided that like Donald Trump actually had things figured out for us all. Right. Like it's just such a bummer, and any president as a paragon of moral certainty was bullshit, right? Like all of it. But at the same time, how have we allowed ourselves to be led by this individual? It's like, it's one thing for the worst person in the world to become the center of our collective attention because we can't look away. But to have made him, like, it's just so dumb. It's so dumb that I still have this thought 10 years into this or whatever we are. But like, if it doesn't mean that it's all over, like I don't know what else it means. I don't know how you come back from having made this person and his absolute depravity the center of our collective attention, and then have had half of our political elite class defend it at every turn, or at the very least say, what do you expect to rise out of this toilet, right? Like, to have the defense of Donald Trump be the crabs in a bucket defense, to say we are all covered in shit, that all of our best deeds are worthless before the eyes of a judging God. Right. Like, then what are we doing here? And it gets back to my complaints about civilizational defense and the inability of the people who you want to defend the civilization to have anything to say. I don't know.
I think that I don't know if there's a silver lining to all this, because I do agree that Trump's presence is kind of corrosive to just the way things used to be, but no one else seems to get that sort of defense. Like, if any other politician on the right or on the left behaved like Trump, the normal rules of politics would still apply. If somebody was too crazy, they're not named Donald Trump, their candidacy kind of falls apart, right? So, like, no one else seems to be able to run that playbook as effectively as Trump. So I don't know what that means. I don't know why that is, but maybe, like, down the road things can begin to change for the better. Again, down the road. That's like the optimistic.
J.D. Vance is the author of They're Eating the Cats and the Dogs.
Right.
So, like, I know that you're not wrong, that nobody else defies gravity the way that Donald Trump does. But he has taught a whole generation of people how to be shameless. And that is the key. Right. If you can just find a total lack of shame, then you're going to be okay. Right. And if anybody has it right now in American politics, it appears to be J.D. Vance. Right. And that's why he's not just the fact that he's the vice president, but the reason that he is the most obvious successor to the ongoing Trumpening project is his total lack of shamelessness and his willingness to completely abandon previous stances and say that they are completely inconsequential to his worldview moving forward.
Right. And my thinking is that he will be punished like a normal politician when he's on his own. Like, as being associated with Trump, he'll get that benefit, but once he stands alone as his own candidate, he won't be able to just say whatever he wants. He'll be judged just like any other politician would. I don't think he's going to get a Trump, like, sort of like benefit of doubt or whatever it is that Trump gets. He's going to be punished the same as any other politician. But I will say that, and I think I've said this before, the United States, the head of government and the head of state is the same as the president, but we don't really actually have a head of state, like the one that does the ceremonial, I'm just the president, so, like, when something tragic happens, you can kind of take off your partisan hat and just say, oh, Neil Armstrong died, blah, 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 say something nice about him and then move on. Like, that role is vacant. Like, there's just a head of government. There's no head of state to where he'll say.
Yeah, but the norm has long existed that is the president's role. Right. It's just that it's only a norm.
Right.
Yeah, but Abe is saying that that's gone.
Yeah, he's, like, abdicated that responsibility. He's, like, not interested in that. Like, just, I don't want that. And, like, I think going forward, usually, like, other people will still try to play that. Like, if a political figure died, like, people go to their funeral, even if you don't if he's not from your party. Like, that doesn't happen.
Not if you're not invited.
Yeah, I guess, if you're not invited, there's not much you could do. But, like, I think he's just like this outlier president that just exists. And people just be talking about, like, how did this happen? Like, what was going on during that period of time? And the last thing I'll say is, like, sometimes people vote because they like somebody, and then they also will vote for somebody to to prevent someone else from winning. So like either people are like this, like hateful or all about whatever this guy's up to, or some of them are like so scared of, they think the alternative is like somehow worse. Like whatever in their imagination is the alternative is so much worse that they're willing to take on this, bad behavior. And like, I don't know where you reach, how you find yourself there, but I don't think everybody that's a Trump person is into whatever he's doing right now.
There's something else about the whole Trump Reiner thing that, and the cliche, not cliche, but the line from Succession that's becoming something of a meme about serious. I love you, but you're not serious people.
Yeah.
How fucking stupid are we all that this is the conversation that we're having? And it's a result of the fact that this is the man that we made the president. And so that makes us stupid.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's a result of things that we did. We get what we deserve on that front. But like you were saying earlier about how it doesn't matter who the victims or the perpetrators were in Australia, that the churn of the news cycle is going to reveal it to have ultimately not mattered in fairly short order. But like, doesn't the fact that no matter how awful the thing is that happens, it's just going to go away and it won't matter relative to the next thing that turns out to be an emergency on your phone for 36 hours before that gets replaced by something else. Like, it speaks to the utter unseriousness of being in the world in our bogus future, right? That the medium has become such that that everything's a game, or everything is just what's happening on my phone, and like how seriously can you take any of us if that's how we interact with the world? Where is value? Where is virtue? Where is anything that fucking matters? Somehow, just the way that we are in the world right now prevents us from being serious. I gave my son a mini lecture this morning because I saw a graph that showed that back 25 years ago, 60% of teenagers read for pleasure every day, right? Like, according to polls, over half of all teens, even 25 years ago, well into the cable television revolution, were still reading every day because they wanted to, right? Because it was a fun activity, was to pick up a book and read. And that number is like less than 20% now, that we all consume the world in these stupid 2-minute bursts. But then when you look at the finer details of short form video, we're actually consuming the world in like 3-second bursts, where when you watch somebody scrolling TikTok or Instagram, it might be 2-minute videos that they're going through, but it's 2 seconds, bam, bam, bam. They're swiping like it's a fucking Tinder profile, and they're waiting to see whether or not the hormones made them horny in the moment. Like, will this work? Yes, no, yes, no. It's like, that's how you're consuming the whole world?
I have to tell you, today at work, one of my students had a friend that she was doing her hair. It took like, I don't know, 3 hours, maybe more. 22-year-old read a book the whole time.
Oh, good.
It was like some stupid vampire novel, but still, like, with like a moment, she might take a break and like send a text. It was cool, and I didn't say anything, but I meant to tell you.
Yeah. And again, of course, I want to go, like, my brain wants to go big picture, that this is about the end of civilization as we know it. The fact that nobody reads anything anymore, or that to the extent that anybody reads anything, it happens on their phone and then it's here and gone. And I told my kid this morning, like, the only superpower the only thing that I can promise you is that you will be in a much better position to succeed in the world if you read every day. Like, and it doesn't have to be important. It doesn't have to matter. But like, the ability to read a text and understand it and learn from it is going to make you superior to like 90% of people in the world. Not superior in a way that I'm not talking about
Bob
humans.
will think he's superior.
Right. Not your human value.
Right.
But in terms of your ability to navigate the world and not be fucking Dak, what's his name from Idiocracy? Go away, I'm baiting in front of your screen.
Yeah.
Like it's crucial, and nobody fucking does it. And so like I don't know.
It will enrich in your life if you read, like if you don't want to compare yourself to anybody else. But I think it's just harder to read when you have this phone in front of you. So like this generation is just like this experiment that everybody's going through. You're going to find out all the flaws in this environment, and going to the larger issue with the way we talk about the news is that this is just like a team sport, basically, where we've arrived to like where there's a red team and a blue team, and the news is consumed for the simple purpose of trying to keep score. Like even in that example you were talking about with we are good people. You know, when the Kirk thing happened, we were grieving, and you people were the bad side. The other group was doing something bad. Like everything is just a contrast. We're good, they're bad, or you're responsible for this issue. You're responsible for that.
Also, sorry, Cory Booker didn't go on TV and talk about how Charlie Kirk was an asshole who deserved what he got, right?
Yeah.
Like, you might be able to find some random assholes on the internet celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk because Charlie Kirk was a creature of the internet first and foremost, right? Like, he came out of that muck.
Yeah.
So, of course, there's, like... It's different when, like, Barack Obama didn't go on Twitter and talk about how it was hilarious when the blood spurted out of Charlie Kirk's neck, right? That's what Donald Trump just did.
Right. But that's literally, like, if there wasn't that engagement, like, people would not even deal with the news. It seems like people seek out this information just so they can have this other topic of conversation. Like, I'm better than you, or my group is better than your group. Like that, I don't think people care that much about what's going on in the news. They just use what happens in the news to advance something they already believe. And, like, that makes it for just awful discourse. Just like, what are we doing here? No one's learning anything. You're not even processing that something tragic happened. You're just like, oh, I hope it's not somebody on my side so I can pin it on somebody else's side.
This episode's going to be like 3 hours long.
And then you have the, like, I don't know that, like, and you are always one to be like, it will come back. Like, we will, like you said, this is a generation that's being experimented upon, and we don't know what the result is going to be.
Well, we know it's going to be bad.
What I know the result is going to be is that they're going to make this device something that is functionally implanted in my consciousness and gives me a heads-up display and is completely inescapable, right? Like, the idea that we're going to realize at some point that this was a bad idea means turning the clock back on 25 years of American industrialism, right? Like, the primary driver of the American economy these days is our technology companies, right? And the idea that somehow, whoops, this was a mistake. This is just a cul-de-sac that we went down that was turned out to be a dead end, and we're going to have to go figure out some other way of being in the world. Like, that is supremely optimistic. I think it's way more likely that our interaction with the world is going to be increasingly moderated and mediated by the algorithms that currently drive the discourse. And that the thing that you've identified as so bad, and that, like, why we are unserious people, is only going to get worse.
Hopefully the robots will pick up the slack and, humans can just chill.
The good news is Mark Strassmann is still out there doing work. It's now time for America's favorite game show. Did Mark Strassmann, CBS News' senior national correspondent, get off a good one?
Or we can have a biomedical security state. And I can tell you, Florida, we're a free state.
Free state. Costly approach.
Strassmann gets off a good one.
Another negative, surging positivity rates.
Ooh, sorry, Mark. Try again next time. And he's traveled out to California to discuss a gaping wound in a California town that was left as a result of the closure of a sugar factory.
In America series, we don't just report events, we look at the impacts. More than 1 million American workers have been laid off this year, several hundred of them in Brawley, California. Mark Strassmann traveled there to examine the ripple effects of those layoffs on the local economy, and what he found was a region in an economic state of emergency.
When Brawley, California lost its sugar plant, there was no way to sweeten the pill.
What? We're closing the plant.
Were you shocked?
Nobody wants to believe the worst.
Lawrence and Henry Horta, father and son, own semis that hauled sugar beets from local farms to Spreckle Sugar for processing. In a nod to national trends, economic conditions changed. Its parent company says it invested $100 million into the facility, but the operational challenges were too great. After 78 years, the plant shuttered in August. How important was that plant to your business?
Like 80%.
80% gone.
Yes, for us, yes. You're left with nothing.
Brawley, population 26,000, sits a 2-hour drive east of San Diego. Agricultural, blue-collar, and dizzy from losing more than 400 jobs.
It's going to be a tough ride. I think the people understand that.
We caught up with City Councilman Gil Revelar, the former mayor here.
But a community like Brawley, a couple hundred jobs, is not just a dent, it's a gaping wound.
The struggle for a lot of families is real.
The struggle is real for many families that call this place home.
Even before the plant shut down, many people here were living paycheck to paycheck. This area has California's highest unemployment rate. Without sugar, Brawley is taking its lumps. Local sales tax revenue year to year dropped 12%. Many people stopped spending.
Buying tires, buying parts, stocking here, fuel, all that. I have to cut up.
Those businesses could be in trouble too.
Oh, yes.
They are.
Those are going to be in trouble.
This is alfalfa here.
Jim Mamer's in trouble. He owns all these tractors, cutters, defoliators, and choppers that harvest sugar beets. If the plant was still open, what could you get for it?
Right about 45, 50,000.
If Mamer tries to sell, he could get cut down. And now that the plant's closed, what can you get for it?
Probably 15.
15,000.
Get a rag so we can check the oil.
If there's good news, it's this. Brawley people are fighters.
We got to survive. We got to keep on working. We got to make a living.
Everyone's looking for the same thing, a sprinkling of new hope. For Eye in America, I'm Mark Strassmann in Brawley, California.
All right, Abe, did Mark Strassmann, CBS News' senior national correspondent, get off a good one?
Yes, he did.
Strassmann gets off a good one.
He should submit this for the Emmy reel. Like, what a performance by Strassmann. Wow.
That's pretty good.
Hit him with the left. Hit him with the right. Back with the left again. They just kept coming.
Unrelenting. Good Lord. Just
Great work by Strassmann on that one. I would say almost rounding back into form.
Yeah, that was good. You know, what is it? Your boy DeCopel's taking over in the new year. How long do you think he's going to last? They've been like rotating that spot for a minute. Wasn't it Norah O'Donnell for a while? That CBS.
We are not serious people if Tony DeCopel is taking over the CBS Evening News.
That's right. Get a straight newsman. He can't do it.
You just got done yelling about how we're not serious people. Here you are.
Yeah. Not to besmirch the good father-son duo there who are truckers and delivering sugar beets to this sugar factory. But like 80% of your business to one. You can't have all your eggs in one basket there, guys.
That's true. Yeah, that was a lot. I mean, that's but you're thinking, what do they say? After 78 years, you're thinking, oh, they're not going anywhere. Everybody needs sugar. Look at all the waistlines I see. You know, people are eating sugar, so you think you have some job security there.
Can we blame this on the rise of Ozempic and Mounjaro?
That's going to be the next year's segment. You know, like Strassmann will be talking that up.
You've been listening to Cast Iron Brains, a podcast with Bob and Abe. Find the show on Substack, brainiron.substack.com for more from us. The opening and closing themes of the show were composed by Mark Gillig, tetramermusic.com, Tetramer music.com for more from Mark. Abe, did you make it to the movies this week?
I did. I think I may be the only one that went to go see this movie. Ella McKay is from James L. Brooks. You've heard of this guy.
He's a longtime producer of The Simpsons, correct?
That's right, yes. And so, like, I think, I don't know what this project was, but anyways, it's not a good movie.
I just Googled. It looks like it's got Margot Robbie and Woody Harrelson and
Woody Harrelson,
what's
yes,
her name?
But not Margot Robbie. The one that looks like her.
Who's that?
There's like a couple of them that look similar. I forget her name.
Emma Mackey. Wow, she looks a lot like Margot Robbie.
Right, yeah. There's another one that also, like, there's a third one that looks comparable, not exactly the same. But this is set in, like, 08, 09, and it's like that period is looked back in a nostalgia kind of lens, like, in a weird way. Like, oh, the good old days. Say what you will about.
Now.
I'm like, that wasn't that long ago, and also, like, it was like that recession. Like, what do you mean, like, the good old days? But she's a lieutenant governor. Not very believable. She becomes governor, and then she's got some personal issues, and she overcomes them, blah, blah, blah. Woody Harrelson plays the father who's just like this narcissist who only cares about himself. He cheats on the mother. I think he gets a little abusive, too. And then the daughter, she, like, kind of repeats the same pattern. She marries some stiff who's, like, just very selfish also. But she doesn't see it. Like, just the whole movie, this husband of hers is just an awful person. Like, there's no redeeming quality. It's not like, oh, he's, like, sweet here. He's just an awful little shit. And then he undermines her political career, blah, blah, blah.
What is it with so you said, like, the daughter of the shithead narcissist repeats the behavior.
Yeah.
But really what she does, she seeks out a partner who repeats that behavior.
Right, yeah. Correct.
So, like,
yes.
Usually.
What is that with chicks, man? Like, why do the women seek out that behavior
It's
in
what
their
they see
partner?
modeled for them.
And why does... Yeah, but, like, the son, if there was a son, would presumably be a shithead in the same fashion that the father was.
Because women can't be shitheads the way men can. It's impossible.
There is...
Was the movie any good? It looks like
Asked and answered.
22% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, very lowly. There's a little redeeming quality in this movie. You think, you have Woody Harrelson, you have, what's her face from...
Jamie Lee Curtis?
Jamie Lee Curtis is in it. There's, like, names in this. But no, the movie sucks. And it's, like, kind of...
Albert Brooks?
Yeah,
Kumail Nanjiani?
Oh, God, he was in a terrible spot. Like, yeah, just the whole movie was like, ugh.
All right. Well, we won't bother with that one then.
Do not bother.
What did we watch?
You watched Dunkirk.
I watched Dunkirk with the boy.
Katie and I went to Children's Theater to see her friend.
Oh, nice.
Play in a play, Elf Jr. It was so cute.
Which is just a musical version of the Will Ferrell movie Elf, but
sort of
made for kids.
Yes.
And
it
by
was
kids.
Great.
Yeah.
It was so great. And I suggested Bob and Calvin watch some war movie.
Yeah, and I looked on my shelf and I was like, I've got Dunkirk.
How did Calvin like it?
Calvin liked Dunkirk a lot.
Oh, nice.
Calvin's a little history bro.
It only took a little bit, because this is his first Nolan movie. So he's like, I don't understand the 1 week, 1 day, 1 hour thing. And I paused it. I was like, all right. So the characters that are on the beach, the story takes place over the course of the week. The characters on the ship, the story takes place over the course of a day. And the characters in the air, in the planes, the story takes place over the course of an hour. And spoilers, by the end of the movie,
everybody dies.
They will all converge on the one critical moment, right? That's sort of where this is going. When was the last time you saw Dunkirk? Been a while, I imagine.
It's been a while because I saw it in theaters and then I saw it when it came out on whatever. But
it looks spectacular on my large television. It's a beautiful movie, especially the opening sequence, as is often the case with Christopher Nolan movies. There are a couple of big set pieces that really work. I will say, I think that it is very close to being a masterpiece, and it's missing a crucial element that I think would have helped. What, Lori?
Is it a woman?
No, there's no women in this one.
So it's missing.
No, because usually the downfall of a Christopher Nolan movie is the women characters are poorly written.
Is how you avoid that.
The wife is dead or otherwise missing, and it becomes a problem. He's not great with the female characters, so he solved that problem by simply not having any in this movie, which worked to his advantage because it avoids a weakness of his. The thing that's missing here is the appropriate scale. At no point watching this movie, because the story is that the British and the French were well fucked by the Germans here. This is 1940. Everything's going really poorly for the Allies. The Americans aren't involved yet. The Germans are running rampant over Europe, and the Allied forces are being forced onto this beach where they're being cornered by the approaching German forces. And there are 300,000 British soldiers, 330,000 or something is the number, that are eventually rescued by a civilian British Navy, right? A sort of a called up British Navy militia, because British military, Churchill, was not willing to send great numbers of naval forces over there for whatever reason. And so instead they sort of called up the reserves and they sent a fleet of civilian pleasure vessels, basically, across the channel to rescue 300,000 British soldiers. And it was a moment of retreat, but also a moment of some triumph, right? Like we will survive and keep on and live to fight another day. The problem is that at no point does it feel like there are 300,000 people
that's right.
who are being rescued from this beach. It all feels very small. And it's because he doesn't do these big establishing shots where it looks believably like there are 300,000 people here in this small space who are about to be well fucked. And when the cavalry arrives on ocean on the channel there, and all of these ships are there, it's not it doesn't look like an overwhelming show of force.
Right.
It looks like 20 or 30 dinghies showing up on the beach for people to eventually go get on these boats and make their way back across the channel. There's just, and I think it is in part like, because when you watch like Lord of the Rings and you watch like the battle at Helm's Deep and you see these hordes of orcs, right? And you see these clashes of giant armies, and like it looks maybe like
those are
2000.
pretend. They're not really there.
I know it's pretending and they're not really there, but like you can do establishing shots that have CGI and it will be okay. And he doesn't do any of that because he wants to capture it all on film, and he only uses CGI sparingly in order to sort of assist the realism rather than to do the big spectacle thing. And I think this movie really would have benefited from a big, massive CGI crowds of soldiers on the beach and a much larger contingent of vessels coming onto the beach in order to rescue them.
All right.
It felt small in a way that it shouldn't. And there's a great moment in the end when the ships arrive and Kenneth Branagh has his faith rewarded as the commander there on the beach, and you're proud of your guys who you've been following or whatever. But it felt also sort of underwhelming in a way that I don't think it would have. There's just something missing there. And I think that the something missing is huge spectacle that he didn't pull off because he didn't want to do CGI.
I'll have to give that movie a watch again. It's been a while.
Yeah, and it is like even just the opening shot of 5 or 6 British soldiers trying to make their way from through this city to safety on the other side of the sand dunes or whatever it's wonderful. It's beautiful. Yeah. It's terrifying. The score really works. The Hans Zimmer score with the ticking clock throughout. It's all very well done. Tom Hardy plays an incredible badass of a fighter pilot who just fucking kills Germans for 2 hours. It's fantastic. But yeah, a very, very good movie that I think just barely misses the mark, which is too bad. Anything else that we watched?
I don't think so. Friday night, we built a gingerbread house all night.
Well,
And then last night, we played a game with the children
We
for
played
4 hours.
we played a board game, Ticket to Ride Rails and Sails, which is very complicated. And we've only played it once before, and it resulted like 15 minutes in Katie weeping because she was doing it wrong and didn't realize it. But eventually, we got it all. We got all the rules sorted out, and it's a really fun game. That's it. I returned a library book today and got 2 new ones. Maybe I'll have something to say about library books in the future. Abe, have you got anything else for us tonight?
Nope.
Well, I guess that's all we've got for you tonight then, and we will talk to you next time.
Later.
Is it just old man yelling at cloud of me to look at J.J. McCarthy and Jackson Dart and their war paint that they put on as grown-ass men in the NFL? Like,
But they're not the first to do it.
It's so fucking lame.
I know, but they're not the first to do it, though, right? They've been, I've seen that.
Who have been other
Quarterbacks in the NFL.
Leaders of men?
So I guess I think of the same as, like, what was that John 3:16 thing that Tebow had? Like, is that
In
but
college.
that's just eye black.
He did it in college. I
Right.
don't think he did it in the NFL.
But I don't draw a distinction between the two. The thing is, like, if you do the whole war paint thing, like
If you do the whole war paint, because this at least is just believable.
Yeah.
I want to reduce glare. Right.
That's
like
how it
that.
started, yeah.
This is functional.
Right.
This is a costume.
Yes.
You look like a baby.
They're trying to express themselves, Look at me. I am this sort of person.
Yeah, they're accomplishing that.
It's so fucking lame.
It's a bit late.
You're a grown-up now. It is time to put away childish things. Can you imagine Phillip Rivers doing the war paint eye black? Like, it's utterly inconceivable.
It would be, especially now, like, after having, like, a 17-year career. Like, but if you were doing it from the get-go, from Pop Warner on, like... What?
How much longer can Jackson Dart continue to do the war paint eye black thing? Like, it's inevitable that he's going to get benched at some point in year 2.
Yeah.
And when he comes back, he will have put away childish things.
Right.
And it'd be like, I put that behind me.
Yeah.
I'm a more serious person now.
Get a new haircut? Yeah, I can see that.
How about the Phillip Rivers experience?
Oh,
this
man.
weekend?
I thought he was going to die. He didn't. I thought we were going to win. We didn't.
We were watching, I forget what game was on, but we were watching whatever game was on here.
Redskins for a minute.
And the crawl comes across. Colts take the lead with 47 seconds to go. And Calvin's like, the Colts are winning. I was like, man, they should jump us over to that game. And inevitably, it goes poorly.
After a whole game of playing well on defense.
The proceeding was created with 100% human content.